Nebraska State Senator is taking aim against a state measure that limits gender-affirming care for minors. District 6 Senator Machaela Cavanaugh says she is formally challenging regulations implemented under LB 574, also known as the Let Them Grow Act. It prohibits gender-altering surgery for youth under the age of 19. It also regulates the use of gender transition medications. Senator Cavanaugh says the regulations violate the state constitution and the Federal Civil Rights Act of 1964. She also says they impose unreasonable burdens on doctors and patients, particularly youth. In a letter to the executive board of the Legislative Council, Cavanaugh called for an immediate review to address the concern.